So by traumatic, because that's the best thing I have to do. Just been chilling, blazing Cali packs and drinking coffee. My heart is beating way too fast and I'm not thinking properly. I think these demons got me, I wanna be feeling godly. I need my REM sleep, I wanna be dreaming properly. I'm blazing way too much, I don't know how to cope. My life is like a dream, my head is in a cloud of smoke. My chest is feeling heavy, that's not a regular feeling. I think it's time for me to do some cellular healing. I really need to let go, before I end up on death row. Someone quickly get me a Cali pack and double espresso. Have I got mental problems? I fucking guess so. When I start to shell, you know I make them gas like Esso. I got some sour diesel, so I don't need no petrol. Don't be cowards people, be brave and intellectual. You know my power's lethal, it's cosmic, it's celestial. I will devour evil, I don't care about the death toll. When I finish my blunt, I'm making a brand new zoot. Then I'm smoking rainbow runt inside a bamboo flute. It's organic coffee inside my bamboo mug. And when I finish it, you know I'm making a brand new cup. Traumatic and it's frenzy, the combination's deadly. The weapon if the situation's sketchy. Just been chilling, blazing Cali packs and watching sunsets. Smoking weed and drinking coffee helps me when I'm upset. I love making grime and drum and bass and dubstep. I've been doing this a long time, but I'm not done yet. I still got a lot to give, I'm absolutely positive. I'm a man of my word and I don't break my promises. Frequencies of truth are coming out of my orifice. I will never ever back down, I'm standing tall like obelisk. I'm a novelist, I'm ready for the apocalypse. Make sure you question everything, but don't ask me if God exists. Temptations are calling, I do not resist. I know exactly what I want, I don't care what the option is. The world is in a mess and I know what the problem is. People are toxic and poisonous, just like gossip is. Shut your esophagus, or try acknowledge it. The truth is hard to stomach, you just need to swallow it. When I finish my blunt, I'm making a brand new zoot. Then I'm smoking. I did press accept, by the way, Mr. Nature. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Me sent it first. I don't know if I can get both of you in here. We'll blow your mind away and leave your head top empty. Do not tempt me, I'm not that friendly. I'll draw for the weapon if the situation's sketchy. There you go, that was almost 100% smooth. Nothing gets me quite as gassed as, yeah, I'm trying to press it. I do want to get you in here. I have pressed accept like multiple times, but it's just retarded. I don't know what's going on. I wish he rapped faster, man, because it gets me so gassed, but I don't know. Oh, this one's good. This one's good. This is a good one. If it doesn't, I don't know why it's not letting you join, man. I don't really understand. I don't know what I can do. Like, Instagram always does this, man. It happened last time. It's cursed, isn't it?
Crazy.
This one's pretty fast. I like the fastest.
Listen.
You are a crazy little man.
Ha! My family thinks I'm fucking crazy. My life's so funny, bro. I'm eating DMT on toast with psychedelic honeycomb. Leave me the fuck alone. I will flick you in your funny bone. Don't talk to me in a funny tone. I'm busy. I'm bringing the money home. I'm using all these ancient words to paint these pictures. Don't brush me aside. You need to read these ancient scriptures. DMT and magic mushrooms. That's the greatest mixture. I don't know, man. Unless I leave and come back. Oh wait, here we go. Oh wait, okay, I see. I invited you, yeah. We're just a bunch of fucking stone heads at Mount Rushmore. My stress is ramping up, that's why I'm always bleeding. Yes. What you saying, my G?
I can't see you, but can you see me?
Really? What the hell?
Not this again.
It's so stupid, isn't it? Yeah, I can see you. I can see you guys. Can you not see me?
No, but can the people see us both?
Yeah.
That's the biggest question.
On my end, everything's how it should be, but I mean,
People who are watching, can you tell us? Can you see both of us
good.
and
It should be good. I don't know what's up. Instagram is just such a. Oh, you just got me a new follower. It looks like, Mr. Nature.
One love.
One love. What we saying then, people? What's popping? Smoking that?
We're at a weed dispensary.
Most beautiful, one of the best places to chill with the Rasta man. He just gave you this jewelry.
I just got given this necklace.
Oh, that's so cool. What? It looks like such a
And he
vibe
gave
there,
me an anklet.
I got Buddha. I got Buddha, Om, and the cross.
Man's decked out. Mr. Nature is looking. That's another thing as well. Is because you don't find things like when you're in Thailand and things. Or I've seen in your vlogs often, like there's people who just kind of like they roam the streets and try and sell what they've handcrafted, or they've, you know, in the market they'll have a fucking, like over here everything is like the best fucking stuff you'll get out here is this. This is the brands out here, but out there you got, oh, you can't see me, I know, man. I forgot about that.
Oh.
But there are markets in England where they sell like handmade and this and that, but there's a lot of stuff that they buy cheap in Asia and then sell you really expensive in England. That's how they do it.
Yeah, just people who roam different cultures, they often have like a lot more like handcrafted, like I think I met psychedelic actualization, who's been everywhere, and his clothes and his all of his smoking stuff and that, it just looked like, I don't know, it looks so much more like organic kind of than most of the stuff you see around here.
Our friend here, he made this. You made this one, right? Yeah. He made
The
this.
first time we came here, I bought this.
Damn.
He made this. He made the Om necklace I got.
And this one, he gave me this too for free.
And then this.
We were coming here a bunch of times to buy 10 grams of weed at a time.
And mushroom. He's a real Rasta bro.
Oh, and I bought this bag. I forgot about this. Look how beautiful this is. Also from here.
I'm so depressed, man. I just cultivated some smoke through like old Cali packs that but then I just dropped it all.
What? Say that again. Repeat
Like,
what you just said.
new man is blazing up, and then I'm out here trying to like find some like weed at the bottom of an old bag or something, and I did, and then I just dropped it.
Oh no. You're a pleb.
Bro, you sit and breathe for an
God
hour.
told
Yeah, I
me
know.
not to smoke that.
It's not that deep. But
Don't need to smoke, but when I get home, I'm gonna show you that life is just as blissful every moment if you stay connected to your breath without any substances. You're the drugs, like we don't
yeah,
do drugs, we are drugs.
there's a part of me often that like almost doesn't want to like, because like everyone's playing games for so long, and then when you realize enlightenment, I'm always like, because I had this trip before, yeah, where I realized like infinite heaven, and I basically nearly wanted to go back because I had so much fun pretending that everything was not perfect. But I know that
But you can still in the grand perfection in tantra, you keep playing the game.
yeah.
Like you just master the game, and you keep playing.
I think it's just because it was a psychedelic peak. Like afterwards, I come back down, and then I was like, "Fuck that!" It's like it's almost like whatever state I was in, I wanted the contrast state. Like when I'm awake, I almost want to be asleep, and when I'm asleep, I want to be awake half the time. But
Yeah, but when you really understand it, it's all enlightenment. Like,
yeah, true.
why would there be a separate thing? Like,
You can't have the good without the bad. So we've got to almost like love the pain and the sadness and all that by just being with it and knowing that in order to feel this shitty, I'm gonna feel really good again over there. Because it's always like,
but it's like more of like that wheel of duality where you switch between good and bad. It's almost
Yeah.
like you get out of it.
Oh right.
And because good and bad, it comes from thoughts. Only thoughts have good and bad. And when you return to pure awareness, that's a truth beyond the opposites. Because it's creating all the opposites, but it's always one.
Yeah. I mean, I resonate with like it's when heard it from like Alan Watts. It was I started to recognize. It was almost like I paid for pleasure with pain in terms of how the contrast creates each other, like the yin and yang. It's like, but it's like I would have like a down phase and then an up phase, but they created each other, and then you just see the dance of good and bad. And it's like what Alan Watts said that hit home at one point. It was like, when something bad happens, treat it as good news, and when something good happens, treat it as bad news. And I don't know if you'd resonate with that completely, because I know you're just in oneness and stuff. But it's almost like whenever I experienced a bad phase, I could anticipate that goodness was coming, because it's like this perpetual. I don't know what it was. It was
But it's like all this we're really talking about now is just like if you remove the I, you just remove the thought construct of yourself that would want to be somewhere else than where you are. And you just breathe into the present moment.
as if you like. But I feel like you almost can't. Often, like you can't. People often can't awaken until they're ready, even though they are already awake. I know, but
They can. Everyone can, every moment. They're just too attached to their selfish ego attachments of identification to the thought construct.
yeah,
Because samadhi yoga is what's happening every moment, all the time, ever present, unconditionally.
yeah. But like, I can't just say like people have to awaken themselves. You can't wake somebody up by telling them.
You can walk the horse to the water, but then they have to try it out for themselves and drink it.
Third eye hello in the chat. I was just trying. Hello, third eye.
But it's like it's so simple. Like you think it's something to reach or something to do, but it's the opposite. It's no doing. It's just being. It's just here in this moment, right now, always.
Yeah,
Wherever you relax, there it is. It's not about the territory. It's not about the environment. It's wherever you relax, there you are.
yeah. I know. It's the insight of and for me it took a while. Like I was trying my best to like understand and things for ages. But then like recently it clicked in a new way where, like I said to you the other day, it's just I realized that the 0 point and the present moment is eternal. Therefore, like I'm already there is like nowhere to go. And it's like Illuminati Congo's tune. The one occurrence is impermanence. It disappears and resurfaces. All is
Yeah.
temporary. Don't worry, it will change momentarily. Surely, it's like if everything's always changing, then who cares about anything? Because it's just gonna fucking disappear in a way. But
Then the deepest thing, even one step further after impermanence, there has to be a reference point to observe all this impermanence that should be constant and permanent. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to observe that everything comes and goes. You would have to
yeah,
have a reference point that's always there. And that's you. That's silence. And silence is there even when noise comes, because those things are impermanent. And the silent, pure awareness allows all things to allow. It's life, it's source, it's God. It's unconditional life force for all living things everywhere.
yeah. It's it's
It,
obvious. Yeah, so what you saying?
You just let go of your mind. Like, it's either you put your attention on your thoughts, or you put your attention on the source of thoughts, which is your breath and your awareness. And you let everything that is disappears and appears. You let all those things do whatever they want while you stay in your natural state and breathe and be
That's
aware and
that's why it
listen.
can hurt for a lot of people of going through the transition into awakening, even though it's all an illusion. It's like because you believed that you was this ego for so long, and then you ultimately you have to let go of the ego, and some people aren't ready to do that in a way. Like what I heard the other day is
Yeah.
you know Monopoly, the board game.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can fucking play Monopoly, and you get you get the fucking thimble. Everyone's got their own whatever it's called, uh, and like when you play Monopoly, you don't believe that you are the fucking item that you're moving around the board. But regardless of that, is you can go around Monopoly and collect all the houses and the property and the money, and that's all good and that, and then you're like, yeah, I've acquired all this shit. I've won Monopoly and I'm the bollocks. But then at the end, it all goes back in the box. So
That's why in all religions they say first seek God, first seek the kingdom of God within you before any riches or anything like that. And all is added on to you. Because then you know you are the eternal image and that all these are coming and goings are gifts.
you know, that's what because I spent so long just pursuing psychedelics and basically nothing else, just like weed and mushrooms. And
Yeah, very good. Too.
uh,
It works too.
well, like because people around me in the third dimension, like family, they're like, what did you even, you were working all this time and like you didn't save any money. I just spent it all on mushrooms and that. And like obviously I get how that wasn't the wisest move in a sense, but I found God. And like
Yeah,
I haven't
that's
acquired any
it.
material things, but I got the most valuable thing ever, which is like since pursuing spirituality over any materialism at all, just trying to find my soul and God in that, now I'm always with God, whether I'm dreaming or I can forget temporarily, but it's like it doesn't matter what happens to me. I have this like trust in the energy that is always because
Yeah.
I've experienced synchronicity through spiritual pursuit.
And then the next step is to remember that you're made in the image of God, and God is creating all of this. So your imagination is just like His. So when you imagine and feel a wish fulfilled, ask and you shall receive. And beyond any physical appearance, if you walk around with a wish fulfilled feeling of what you want,
Yeah.
then it happens naturally, effortlessly.
You're the evidence of that, as far as I'm aware. Like, I best listen to you know I ain't got fuck all, and I mean I do, but I mean you're winning in the sense of what I want, and you act as if
But there is no winning because we're all in seasons and changes and winter and spring and flowers bloom at different stages and it's all perfect when they bloom. Just enjoy.
You're a daffodil and Rob's a rose, metaphorically, and you're looking at yourself and wondering why you're not looking like him. But like, you ain't ever gonna look like that. You're supposed to be a daffodil, bro.
And it's blooming. Like maybe you bloom in summer and I bloom in spring. Like you just don't compare in that way. You just appreciate everyone's stage of process and you just have compassion and know that if you really want anything The inner is the outer. So your imagination is God's imagination. So if you walk around with a feeling of wish fulfilled, you really envision in your thoughts what your dream life would want, and then you feel like that has already happened. You imagine it with all your senses. What would it feel like if that has already happened? And then you try to maintain that feeling. And then you see that what you feel, you attract. So then everything you want wants you.
Yeah, it is really. Every time I speak to you, I'm just like reminded how like awakening is really like the only kind of like awakening is the beginning of everything. Really, like there's no. It all starts with your awareness in the moment because, uh, like often a philosophy or like a perspective that I have, like I you can only do the best that you can do with this moment, and you can choose to make this moment hell, or you can choose to make it heaven in a way, or like. But the
Or
past is
you can
always in the
also be
past.
completely neutral.
What?
You can also be completely neutral and blow the candle out. Because, for example, in Tantra tradition, then you master duality and you use your destiny in your mind and instruments, and you see the polarity of duality as unity. But then in Nirvana, you blow out duality completely.
Yeah.
So there's no you doing anything. And you can, if you're a real Siddha master, you can switch between those two states because everything is technically the same thing all the time.
Yeah, I do get
So
that.
nirvana is no separate existence, and you don't need to do anything. You just relax like nature.
Yeah,
But it but it takes steps to come there. It takes right action, right thoughts, purify your mind, be compassionate, and don't lie, don't steal, until you come to a point where all you realize this is your natural state. This is what nature does. Nature is love. Nature does this naturally. When you undo all the layers of ego identifications that you adopted during your lifetime.
but you see, isn't it interesting how like because beyond all duality, the highest truth is love still. But that's not duality, even though like that's not positive or negative inherently. But like,
Yeah,
but
it's
when you
all of it.
yeah, I mean
It's
it's beyond
totality.
duality really. It's like a meta perspective. Like
But
when you see what's
but then if you
happening.
really look at it from like, would duality be like unity is duality too? Like if you really look at what non-duality is this moment right here without your mind. That's non-duality. No mind, just in your heart center in the present moment. Then you're in a non-dual state of God consciousness. So
See, so it can take a minute.
non-duality is duality.
It can take a minute, yeah, for people to clock that. Because I think, basically, there was this kid who I tried to explain to him. I sent him a video in that basically the idea of looking at your hand is not the same thing as looking at your hand. And somehow, I know it sounds retarded, but he literally just did not understand what I was saying. And I don't know how he didn't understand that. But I think why I had like such a terrifying mushroom experience when I was younger is because a lot of people live in like pure conception. And then when you like most and it's like a fortress almost like an ego where to actually perceive like truth can be scary to a lot of people. I think that
Because Yeah, but it's scary to their identification of a separate self-thought construct because their self is non-dual eternity. They're an image of a non-dual light. So it's just a thought being scared of thoughts.
Yeah, it's crazy how deep the deception goes, because like you can suffer for years and years, but it was literally just you doing it to yourself.
Yeah, it's a self-made cage, and if the cage is self-made, then any moment you're free to break free of it and realize that there wasn't even a cage once you break free of it.
Just stop telling yourself that you can't. Stop telling yourself that you're lost or that you have
But
somewhere
it's
to
like
go.
the thing is the real. If you love God with all your heart, if you truly love God with all your heart, then you sit. You can do it anywhere when you're walking or anything, but in general, sit in the morning and don't do anything to your mind. You sit and breathe however you want to breathe, and you leave your mind completely alone, and you let it come closer and closer with less and less thoughts until you feel it still and silent. And when your mind is really still and silent, then you're completely present in the moment and you are one with everything. And there is silent mind and an open heart. That is called Shiva Bhakti. And Bhakti means devotion, and Shiva is God in Hinduism. So Shiva Bhakti is to move from a silent mind, but then also be aware that thought is created, but mostly in your general present moment, you stay in the heart and a silent mind in the present moment. Then you are with God all the time.
Yeah, and there's nothing better than being with God and like always be
And
in
you
contact with
technically
truth.
are that all the time. Like when you really realize it, you will realize it that you are that while you're thinking, while thoughts are there and everything. Like sound and silence in the end just becomes the absolute same thing.
Yeah. See the way.
It's an undoing.
Huh?
It's an undoing of what we have grabbed on
Yeah.
that covered our true nature.
Yeah. Losing the confusion. That stuck with me. He said a while ago.
Yeah, because literally, like if you sit here and you're truly devoted to God right now, and whatever shows up in your mind, if a thought shows up, then just ask, who am I? And then let it be silent for a while. And then say I one more time. And then look if you can find an I without thoughts.
Yeah, I know. I done that like a while ago. Like I was watching a video and someone told me that, and then I looked, and there is really nothing there. But it's such a genius illusion. Like it's such a paradox. Like the idea of no self on the surface seems stupid to like if you try and tell the typical just like person, but the truth is there's no difference between anything really. It's all just the same.
It's one light.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Like
I
if you
know.
really want to say it in the undescribable in words, it's one light through a prism that creates a rainbow. And the rainbow vibrates at different densities and
For,
creates this world,
for me,
many other worlds.
the kind of the recent uh, way, because I think about infinite. When I first like grasped the potential of infinite love being the truth of reality, it's like I've often had fear for like prolonged periods, about like being a failure or not like actualizing properly. But what seems to happen is like it's like I can have this fear, and then every now and then God will tell me that it's okay, and then it will show me heaven. So it's like I'm pretending that I'm limited, and then I remember that I'm not. So it's almost like the highest love, from my perspective, if it were to unfold, the way I see it is like I was saying to you, it's almost like I've been waiting for God to prove that everything is actually truly okay, and I know that that is the
But it's
case.
already
Yeah,
what's happening.
I know. See, I'm getting better because I know what you're going to say before you say it now, so I'm definitely making progress. But it's
Yeah, because all you really need to do, if there's anything to do, is to undo this thought identification that you have, that I'm like this, I'm like that. If you want to use thoughts about yourself, then you only want to be I am. You say the I am, and you or the I am thought, and then you look where the I am thought comes from, and you stay there.
yeah,
So you don't really have fears or these things, or like, of course they're coming, but you recognize the nature of impermanence. Like,
yeah.
don't
That's the
worry,
main
it will
thing.
change momentarily, surely. So if you don't grab onto anything, there's nothing to worry about, because your mind, all your thoughts are impermanent. The same in Buddha's teachings, to come back to awareness and liberate yourself, is to recognize that all thoughts, you don't own them. They are self-liberating, temporary appearances. So when a thought comes, it already left by itself. It came, it went. You didn't do that.
Yeah,
You can also use your mind, but if you can just recognize that there's an awareness, a field, which the thoughts can come and go without you doing anything about it. You're just observing it. You're just aware of it. And in that, you recognize in Buddhism the nature of mind, the nature of impermanence of appearances, but the eternity of awareness as yourself.
yeah. I think a lot of it stems from like if you believe that you exist as a cell, like a small cell, then that's the unquestioned assumption or the unnoticed assumption that creates like such an illusion. It's like everything's built on such a house of cards that like
But just look at nature. You can see all of reality without thinking. If you, even with thinking, walk around, look at nature, look at trees, look at birds, look at the soil, look at the seeds, look at the water, look at the fire, and see that they're all interconnected, and they're constantly, perfectly being at the right places for rain, for snow, for seasons, for everything to happen. There's a higher force moving everything and all the elements in nature interconnectedly, and they're all one, and you couldn't separate them from each other, even though they
yeah,
appear
yeah.
to be separate.
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's I know exactly what you mean. It's everything like
Perfect.
yeah, it's just divided oneness like and it's it all.
works as like a holistic ecosystem. So even if like humans are eating junk food and things of that nature, like that will play like a part in like the bigger picture of the ecosystem.
It's technically just a cycle, so no matter what, it will just transform and return and come back.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
an
of course.
ecosystem.
So
Energy doesn't get destroyed, it only transforms.
the thing is, though, the truth is that like the idea of
My
success
phone
and
died,
like, you know, getting money, getting health,
but
and
that's okay.
Um,
I don't know if he's fucked off. But what I was saying, regardless, is it's like Monopoly. You can collect all the stuff on the Monopoly board, and same with this life in the flesh as this ego. You can get house, get money, get a girlfriend, have kids, get dogs, get loads of fucking supplements, do yoga, self actualize, build a business, and all of that is all good, but like you will always, in a sense, with this scarcity mindset, you will fear losing what you've cultivated. That's funny. I don't know why that's happening. But it's like you can succeed, you know, you can cultivate everything you ever wanted, and then you could just get bombed or something, you know, or like there could be a war and you'll lose it, or you'll age. So it's literally like you are literally already where you need to be, because everything comes and goes with time. And even if you do succeed and get health and everything, obviously that's all worth doing. It's not an excuse to not do those things and to not self-actualize, because what else is there to do? And, you know, you can minimize suffering and stuff while you're at it. But it's just recognizing the truth of impermanence. Like, yes, you may be able to make things easier for yourself by not eating like polluted food, etc., and having making the body more in sync with the Tao, or whatever the fuck they call it. But at the end of the day, we have to recognize that everything is going back where it came from, and unity divides and then comes back together, and we're just going around in circles like the planets. So the universe is going around in circles, and you are the universe, just like when you look up at nighttime at the planets in the sky. So I'm still all for self-actualization, of course, but it's almost like liberation is always in the present moment, and I know that can seem stupid to a lot of personal development people, the grounded Westerners and things, and these self-help teachers, but it's, you know, it's like Hamza, striving to be stronger, striving to be healthier, striving for more money, collecting more knowledge, winning friends, creating a business. All right, that's all good, but when you do that on the Monopoly board, it all has to go back in the box at the end of the day, and that's where this is all going. It's going back in the box. So does it really fucking matter if everything's going back in the box? And that's what I thought before. Like, there's been times, whether in a psychedelic peak or not, even when I'm sober, where I feel like I've had it. I can, if I could do it now in this moment, I can reflect on my past, and I can go, I've had it. I could happily die now, and I always could. I actually don't really give a like. I don't want to die because I'm having fun half the time. But it's like I've already had multiple happy endings through self-realization, etc. Like I can like have a psychedelic breakthrough and realize, like, I don't know, from like meta perspective, from like a zoomed out big picture perspective, I can look at the story and everything that's happened, and I could go like, I'm happy with dying now. I don't care. But then I don't die. So like, I think I heard Alan Watts reference someone saying the only real philosophical question is, should you kill yourself or not? And notice when you, like, if you're struggling and you're suffering and going through the trials and tribulations, why do you choose not to kill yourself? Like, why are you still alive now? Why haven't you decided to end the game? And just contemplate that. You're choosing to continue to exist. So no matter how much of a shit time you believe you're having, you still rather remain here. Also, it seems that's what you choose. And I do. Like now, like if I could kill myself now, I wouldn't. Why? One, because there's no point, and two, it depends what state I'm in. Like, well, Michael, I was just on here with Mr. Nature. I'm just talking about the only real philosophical question is, should you kill yourself? And I was just saying that basically, you know, Monopoly, like you go around the Monopoly board, you collect all the stuff, you collect all the property, you make a conscious rapper community, you make a business, you earn loads of money, you get a girlfriend. Obviously, you don't do that on the Monopoly board, but it's kind of an abstraction of real life. At the end of the game, everything goes back in the box. So it's like, what good is like gripping onto anything if everything just is always how it is and everything is always just going through the inevitable motions? It's like liberation is always here if you can see it. I'm not saying that personal development doesn't have a use. Of course, you can make your time here easier through being wise about what you choose to consume and the thoughts that you have, etc. But can we recognize that everything is ultimately impermanent, and like it's almost like letting go of everything is the highest teaching? Because you can accumulate everything you ever wanted, and then you can lose it. It doesn't mean it's not worth trying to accumulate, because you might have an easier time and you could relieve the suffering of yourself and others, if others exist. And the reason I say that is because when you dream at nighttime, you can obviously dream loads of beings, but they are all ultimately happening inside your mind. How do we not know that that isn't the case now? I'm not saying it is. I don't have a set, solid opinion 100%, but that's known as solipsism. And it's that kind of shit that made my mate kill himself when he was on mushrooms. I don't know why I laugh. It's not funny. I mean, he would have he would laugh at that. He doesn't give a fuck. He's just a ruthless geezer. Death while living is the goal. That's right. To die before you die. But yeah, it's just absolute truth. You can recognize absolute truths all the time. It doesn't really matter where you are. Like if you really take a step back for a moment and just realize that, like, the truth is the universe is awake forever. Like the other night, I dreamed that there's actually not much of a solid distinction now for me between dreaming and normal consciousness. Recently, I found lucid dreaming to be the funniest. Like you're in this waking reality, supposedly, and you're watching a YouTube video about scientists. Is lucid dreaming real? Who knows? How to lucid dream tutorial on YouTube, right? But you're assuming that you're not dreaming. You're assuming that you're awake. And that when you go to sleep at night, you can try and lucid dream, and obviously you can do that in like a relative plane, but like who's to say that you can't become lucid now? And you can, and I have, mainly through psychedelics. There are other ways, but this is what I call God realization, is realizing that everything is consciousness. And really, I feel like this is kind of like the pinnacle of my, thank you for the follow, Liner. I feel like this is like kind of like my gift in a way. Like all the like the personal development and stuff I talk about, that's all like on the periphery. But like the absolute truths of infinite consciousness and God and things, I feel like I've hit the nail. I know that I hit the nail on the head. Not every nuance, but there's no difference between wake and dream. It's all just consciousness. It's all just form. It's all vibration, colors, sounds, and sense perception. And you trick yourself into identifying with part of the sense perception, which is this ego. Therefore, you can play any role in any movie, in any video game, but it's all ultimately just consciousness and sense perception. So, like, if I can supposedly go to sleep at nighttime, right, and then I have like a full-blown experience of being in prison. Obviously, the consciousness is a bit different. It's it's not like actually like full awake. Like dream states are more slippy and things of that nature. But like the other night, I dreamt that I was in jail, and I was in jail because I filmed the UFO and I uploaded it to YouTube and shit. What are you saying, Alfie? Good, bro? Just chatting about God consciousness and that, Mr. Nature was on here as well a second ago, on the live. And then I wake up from that state and I'm fully conscious that I was just in prison. And then I just woke up in my bedroom. And the truth is there's no difference between anything really, and this is non-duality. So I know that it really does seem like there is a self, like a small self, which is this ego. Like, who am I? Well, I'm me, of course. I'm me. I'm Baron. I'm Oxen. That's who I am. And then you have but all of this is just mental imagery. Who am I? I'm Baron. No, that's a thought. That's a mental image of who I think I am. Well, who am I really? And you'll notice that any answer to who you are is conceptual. So you're literally not there in the way that you thought you were, but you can know the self in experience outside of thought, and the true self is everything. Because you can take on any incarnation you want. Why are you you, and why are you not somebody else? Because you have, well, supposedly what you would answer to that is because you have the distinction between voluntary and involuntary. Where do your decisions come from? Do you decide to decide? Who's pulling the ropes really? See, in a radical state of God consciousness, I turned on my flashlight with my voluntary hand as this self. I turned on the flashlight, and then my true self turned the flashlight off. And I didn't touch it with my physical body. And I knew that I was doing it in a very strange way. It takes a long time to grasp it, but it's like, you are doing everything, but you're not conscious of how you're doing it. So think of everyone who hurt you in the past, all your traumas, your ex-girlfriends, etc. Bring those to mind. You dreamt that whole thing. And you are who hurt you. Everything is a figment of your imagination, and this is absolute truth. So, for example, like I had somebody cut me off a while ago, an old friend who was like a girlfriend kind of at the time, on and off. Cut me off, blocked me, no explanation. And then I had a fucking breakdown and I was like traumatized and I never got over it really for like 3 years. It's still like, I still didn't really get over it in a sense. It's weird. But basically the truth is, when you recognize that all is sense perception, and I know it does seem that you are this finite ego self, this ego inside a bag of skin, but the truth is, if you really pay attention, everything is just one. So basically, the self is the small self is a projection. Everything is the self. So any sense perception, any experience, any consciousness, any awareness, any color, any sound, any taste, any smell, that is you, all of it. The whole thing is you. And I know that is the truth because I recognize it directly now. So it started first where I would project, like I could look at something out. Like, you know how you look in the mirror and think, yeah, that's me. Which, by the way, I don't anymore. I look in the mirror and say, who the fuck is that? Like a stranger looking back at me. Like I'm formless, so that all this is just like not me. But at the same time, it is me. What was I saying? I don't know. Oh yeah, for sure. It's all for reason. It's coming to the time now. We are the creator. But do you understand? If you were are you open to the possibility that you are dreaming, regardless of if I say it's true or not? It might not feel exactly like a dream at nighttime, but maybe it's basically the same as a dream, but the consciousness is different in some facets, right? Would you understand it if you could fully realize that you were dreaming, that would be just like a lucid dream. And what happens when you lucid dream? You can influence the dream. And this is what happens in radical states of consciousness. So if you can raise your frequency, vibration, and consciousness to the point where you become lucid within the dream, you can tap into the infinite will of God. Because the truth is, you are the substance of everything, and all of this is one mind. Regardless if you're sleeping or if you're on drugs. People, oh, it's just chemicals in the brain causing hallucinations. Neurotransmitters is a better term than drugs, because drugs is quite a deceptive blanket term. Even from a physical perspective, you put something into the physical body and it changes the brain chemistry, therefore it changes the perception of the world. So you can say it's just drugs causing hallucinations, but even from a materialist paradigm, like if I just removed a chunk of my brain and that radically altered my perception, who's to say that my direct subjective experience is still the same? And like when you get so far out, like the idea, like if you take enough psychedelics, you will forget that you ever took psychedelics, and the idea that you took psychedelics will be seen nothing more than an idea. I took psychedelics. No, that's a thought. I did take psychedelics, but the subjective experience is still the case. Like when you dream at nighttime, it's like, you're just sorting through memories as you sleep. Your brain the subconscious is working through and sorting memories. It's like, that's an explanation using language to rationalize and demystify reality. Science seeks to demystify. It seeks to what's the word? Reduce, in a sense, reductionist materialism, kind of, where it's like just by putting labels on everything doesn't tell me fuck all about what anything actually is. Like this. When I was going through my psychedelic insanity, like Maria, I think you're in the chat now. Like Josh, like what happened to Josh essentially. When I was going, and this is when Josh was still in this realm. I was going through the same thing as Josh, like in a fucking schizophrenic episode, kind of. And I was telling people around me, I would like literally tell my family that this is pure magic. Now I understand that's not actually the case because that's a word. Pure magic is a conception that I'm putting onto this. But what my father and people would tell me, go, that's not magic. That's MDF with a picture, and they tell me the label of what society has deemed this material, and they would say, no, it's not magic. It's and then they would explain it away, like, what is reality? And then science will say, reality is atoms and quarks and electrons and protons and energy, and it's this billiard board of bouncing blind energy. It's like, no, that's a conception of what reality is using language. So Alan Watts says, is reality, he says, reality is not spiritual, that's just an idea. Reality is not material, that's also an idea. Reality is... That's what reality is. And this is why I can't get a job. I mean, I can, but I went to get hired and my boss was like, why should I hire you judging by your social media? Well, I'd rather express my authentic self rather than just, like, being a slave to who you want me to be, because smoke weed. Yes, I want to smoke weed. But you see, at the same time, like, I don't know, how the fuck is science avoids using these spiritual words. And so much deception. Yeah. But, so the truth of no self, smoke a spliff now. I want to. I don't have any. See, that would probably take me out of my mania, because I'm like manic when I don't smoke weed, so thanks for the advice. But yeah, basically the truth is, if you become directly conscious, you can become... I became I'll email you some. So I became on a psychedelic trip a air cleaner extractor, like a white fucking box thing, like, and I was that, and that's samadhi. But like, it's not like I actually dreamt that I was that and only that. But the truth is, if you get behind the mind, there's no difference where you can just observe an object so heavily that you become the object. And that is you, and you directly understand that in real time. And that's why this stuff can be so difficult for a lot of people, especially going through their transition from asleep to awake. Is like, when you fuck with these boundaries of self and other, it can be spooky. So basically, the whole world is your body, and the idea that you're separate from the world is an idea. Because understand as well that nature is codependence. The trees give us oxygen and fruit, and just as the earth, well, just as a tree apples, the earth peoples. You see? We grew out of this earth, we did not come into this earth. Alfie, fucking... Ah, wait, hold on. I've only got... Oi, you joined at the worst time. I've got... It's gonna end. It's giving me a 20-second timer. because it's been an hour.
Oh,
I
fucking hell, man. As soon
can
as I
start another
join.
one. I'll start another one if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, alright. 1 second. Everyone go to the new live.